Campaign board games are some of the most exciting experiences you can have in the hobby, and I'm going to share with you 5 of my favorites. These are all fantastic cooperative campaign board games. Some of them are legacy games, some of them are more scenario based, but all of them are a wonderful experience to go through with a dedicated group of probably up to 4. One of them is 5 actually. If you like legacy board games, let me know by dropping a like down below. It's gonna really help us out as we grow this community. And speaking of community, we would love to have you in our Discord. We just launched the server pretty recently. It's just a great place for you to connect with us as well as all of the other people in our community. Talk about board games as much as you want. It's great. We're gonna jump right into this list really quickly, but first I just wanna tell you, my name is Evan and we are Being Friends. And we're a community dedicated to sharing with you how board games can help you connect with others. And honestly, legacy games as well as cooperative games are some of my favorite games for that exact purpose, because you're gonna be going through an experience with a group of people, and it's a little more long-term than an average board game because you're playing multiple sessions of the game together. It's just such a cool tool for camaraderie. I just personally love it so much. So I'm super excited about all 5 of these games. They're all really great in a lot of different ways, so make sure you watch to the end. And if you want, you can just skip around with the timestamps that are in the description. But if you watch through the whole thing, thank you so much. It actually really helps our channel out, so we seriously appreciate it. All right, the first game is a cooperative deck building game. This is Shadowrun Crossfire. I absolutely love this game so much. It's really, really brilliant. The way that the game comes together is just incredibly fun. It's actually a fairly simple deck building game compared to some of the other ones that I have. I really, really love it. In Shadowrun Crossfire, you're working together to defeat many obstacles. There's a bunch of these enemies that you're basically just trying to use the right combination of damage to kill and defeat. And every time you do defeat an enemy, everyone on the team gains some money that they can spend on getting stronger cards, and they go straight into your hand, so you're already ready to use it. This game is actually infamous for being incredibly brutal and incredibly challenging, but for that reason the stakes are so high and it's just so tense and exciting because every decision you make really matters, and there's quite a bit of really exciting decision making that doesn't bog you down. The gameplay is incredibly fun, and the arc of your character growth as you play through a round of the game, which only takes like 30 minutes, is incredibly exciting and engaging, and you're building a deck and to be part of the team. This isn't a campaign, nor is it a legacy game actually, but it does have some legacy game elements because every game you play of Shadowrun Crossfire is going to get you some experience points that you can spend on permanent upgrades for your character. It's a really, really cool game to play multiple times with the same group, and you start to build this team that is becoming more and more powerful and can complete harder and harder challenges, and in the end it actually is just a super rewarding experience. I've played this game a lot, but not with a dedicated group as much as I'd like to, but I've recently been playing it solo just by being 2 different characters at the same time, and that's been so much fun just being able to play it and watch my characters grow. The next game on this list is Pandemic Legacy. This is season 2 right here. We haven't finished this though, so I don't recommend this one yet. I think I probably will, but I do recommend Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Pandemic Legacy Season 1 is an incredible journey, and it's incredibly accessible. Pandemic is one of the most popular family board games of all times. So to hear that there's a legacy version of this game, which is ranked number 2 on Board Game Geek, I'll just say it, is really cool. And the fact of the matter is it's really, really well done. It brings you and your group through an incredible journey with so many twists and turns, and I'm not going to go into them because it's almost spoilers. But in the end, it's an incredible experience that I think I recommend to almost everybody, because it starts out fairly simple, as Pandemic is, but it introduces new mechanics, new story elements, new characters, new upgrades for your characters, and it all comes together in a way that I think is an incredible journey, absolutely worth doing. Please play this game. Pandemic Legacy Season 1 is so dang good. Every game of Pandemic is super tight, and all the decisions matter to the point where it becomes a really close call nearly every time, so it's a super, super good game. I personally love legacy games, and every single one I've played, not every one of them. The Netrunner legacy games sucked really bad, but a lot of the legacy games that I've played are brilliant and some of the best experiences I've ever had in gaming. I'm super excited to play The King's Dilemma, which is on my shelf of shame right now. Check out that video to see the rest of my shelf of shame. I haven't been able to play much of the games on there since I made the video, and it's already been like a couple months. So if you like legacy games, I want to hear from you. If you don't, I know that some people don't. I know that some people have a hard time with the idea of having to play with the same group and all sorts of things. Just let me know. I'm super excited to talk to you about it, and join the Discord if you want to talk even more. The third game on this list is definitely not a legacy game and only kind of a campaign game. Basically, the reason why this game is on the list is, for one, because it's great, but for two, it really does reward a group who's dedicated to playing this game together, because there are 7 tutorial levels where they are introducing all of the mechanics to you slowly. And if you try playing this and introducing this to different people every time you play, you're never really going to get a full taste of what the game has to offer. The tutorial is really fun to play through. I've played through it nearly one whole time. The way that the game works is that it uses real-time elements, so you're working together to defend the ship from invaders, and you're basically running around the ship, activating cannons to hit specific enemies, and managing the energy usage of all of the different elements of your ship, as well as sending out rockets, activating robots to defend invaders on the ship. And there's just so many different elements to this game that makes it so cool, and it's just really exciting, the amount of different things that are going on. And as you are mastering the game, you're starting to learn how to approach all of the problems that the game throws at you. And to me, the idea of mastering this game is so exciting, so I want to play it so bad. It's also just really cool, and really no other game is like it. I think that the theme is great, and the way that the game works is brilliant. This is a Vladish Battle game who's one of the best designers. He designed Mage Knight, Codenames, Through the Ages, and this game, as well as many other great games. So he's a great designer, and Space Alert is such a good game, and it's honestly really approachable. The game time is like probably on average about 30 minutes for a round, and it's just super cool. So this game is awesome if you like sci-fi, if you like real-time games, if you like cooperative games, and if you can dedicate a group to playing the same game multiple times, then this is a great game, and I really highly recommend it. All right, the next game on this list, number 4, the 4th greatest game of cooperative campaign games, is this one. It's huge. It's the biggest game I own, maybe not bigger than Gloomhaven, maybe not bigger. Oh my gosh, it's heavy. Holy crap. Mechs versus Minions. This game is bonkers ridiculous in so many ways. One of them, and this is actually the first reason why it's so great, the production quality of this game is off the charts. It literally, just opening the box and seeing the insert, you're just like, whoa, games can be this good. It's just absolutely bonkers. It's not a cheap game. It costs about $80, but for the amount of miniatures you get, the amount of quality components, and just overall, it's honestly incredibly worth it. You get tons of great cards. It's actually an insane deal. I know I've heard that the publishers, Riot Games are the people who made League of Legends, and this game is actually set in the League of Legends universe, using some of the characters that people really loved. I've heard that this board game was a love letter to the League of Legends community. They basically made it way too cheap and affordable for what they gave you, and just packed it with brilliant production. And it was just because they're like, we're not trying to make a profit off this. We have a ton of money from League of Legends already. Let's just give them an awesome board game. And I love that so much. And honestly, it is awesome. This game is also, on top of the production quality, so dang fun. I've only played it like a few times, but I'm really excited to play it more. I just will say, it honestly blew me away. Basically, in this game, you are controlling mechs, and you are fighting a horde of minions, and you're trying to kill all of them while you're accomplishing other tasks depending on the scenario. As you are using your mechs, you're programming it to turn the right direction, move the right way, and do attacks and try to get as much minions killed as you can. And things are gonna go wrong, because the way you program it is you're almost hoping and crossing your fingers that it's gonna work out well, but you can also plan quite a bit ahead in that way. And when things go wrong, it paints the funniest picture in board games for me, because you watch yourself, like, it honestly feels the way a machine actually does malfunction. And so you see things go wrong, and it's just so funny. So you're facing the minions, but honestly, more than anything, you are against yourself and the other players who are working together with you. But it's just so funny, and it's just, when things go wrong, it's hilarious and brilliant and just like a perfect thing. It's just great. But when things go right, It's incredibly satisfying. This one isn't a legacy game. It's one where you are going through with a group through the 8 scenarios, and each scenario introduces new mechanics. Each of your characters will unlock new abilities as well, but you can replay as many times as you want. So that's something that I know a lot of people don't like about legacy games. This one solves it by saying, yeah, you can play it again. The next game on this list, the #1 campaign cooperative game, it has to be Gloomhaven. It has to be Gloomhaven, specifically Jaws of the Lion. I love this game and Gloomhaven. Both of them are basically the same game, but this is a standalone version of the game that has 4 new characters. It takes you through 25 scenarios with the same 4 characters, and you play through it, and it's great. 25 scenarios is honestly a lot of content. So anyways, Gloomhaven is a dungeon crawling fantasy adventure game where you are working as a team to kill all the enemies, loot the place, and get out of there. What makes it so good, there's a lot of dungeon crawling games, but what makes it so good is the card play that it introduces to the genre. It makes the actual strategy and playing out of the dungeon crawling really fun and a really brilliant puzzle. They make the number of cards you have in your hand part of your stamina and your health, and so if you run out of cards, you lose, and if you run out of health, you also lose. So the way that the cards work is super cool. So if you haven't heard about Gloomhaven, there's tons of great reviews about the game. It's considered to be the best game of all time, #1 rated on Board Game Geek. And so this one is a new edition where they basically said, how can we make this as accessible as possible? And they did it so well. Gloomhaven is a fairly complex game. It's kind of daunting because of the amount of stuff in it. There's so much content. There's like more than 100 scenarios in the normal Gloomhaven. This one's only 25. This one you only have 4 characters. You don't have to worry about the other ones. And they made setup time dramatically shorter. And they gave you a tutorial that teaches you the game in 5 scenarios before your first main scenario. In Gloomhaven, you're there like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. I have to spend so much time setting this up. And there's so many mechanics, but in Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, they say, no, yeah, you're good. It'll take 5 minutes to set up. They teach you the rules gradually, and it's just so good. So Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion is one of the best deals you'll get on a board game. I think it's insane. For like, I think $60 MSRP, you're gonna get so much content. And if you like Gloomhaven already, it's worth it just to get the new characters for your normal Gloomhaven. There's just nothing wrong with it, basically. There are people who probably don't enjoy the system. I think it's best at 2 players, but it plays 1 to 4. So if you want to play solo, I'm sure that's good. I haven't tried it. Gloomhaven, I think, shines at 2. There's enough teamwork, and it kind of happens in a more concise and dense way. But with Jaws of the Lion, I would almost recommend 4, just so you can play with all 4 of the characters. Gloomhaven's great because the gameplay is just so good. Every single scenario is super fun for that reason, because it's this really cool puzzle where you have to pace yourself, but also do really strong things when it's the appropriate time, and all that's great. But because it's a campaign and or a legacy game with the normal Gloomhaven, it puts it in this greater context where not only are you having like a lot of fun in this one scenario with really cool stuff going on, but also you're gonna get some experience, you're gonna get some money so you can buy new equipment, you're gonna level up, learn new cards, you're gonna upgrade your attack modifier deck, which is really cool. The game put into that context just makes it so grand, so exciting, such a great adventure game. And if you like campaigns and cooperative games, it's frankly maybe the best one you're gonna get. I love all 4 of these games about as much, like not much less. In fact, I might like Pandemic Legacy Season 1 more. I might like Shadowrun Crossfire more even. Either way, you have to try Gloomhaven, and this is the perfect place to start with the game. Overall, we have got so many great games right here. This one's ridiculous. This one's so heavy. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what your favorite legacy or campaign cooperative games are. Please drop them in the comments below. We want to hear all that you have to say. But until then, we have a great list for you right here for you to watch, and hopefully find some more great options if you're looking for more board games.